Caroline Hill. I'm Editor-in-Chief of Legal IT Insider, and we're here on Terra TV with Andrea Markstrom, who's the CIO of Taft. Hi, Andrea.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
CIO, it's not hard to say, is it? Thank you so much for joining me here on Terra TV. We're here to talk about many things, actually. We're here to talk about your nomination by ILTA as one of the top 5 influential women in legal tech, but also a recap of some of the huge challenges of the past year. And so just for anybody who's not familiar with Taft, so Taft is, you have got over 600 attorneys, and that's across 12 offices. And you were brought in January 2020, just at the merger when Taft came together with Briggs & Morgan. And became an AmLaw 100 law firm. And so I just want to run through with you what the past year has been like in terms of some of the achievements and challenges. So what was your, and we're here to talk about I Will, because obviously that's part of the nomination for ILTA, which is the Inspiring Women, Igniting Leadership and Learning, which is part of the reason why you've been nominated. And we're going to come on to talk about I Will and the great work that you've been doing in helping champion and mentor women. But so tell me about, first, I just want to talk about Taft first in the past year. So when you were brought in January 2020, what was your, you're obviously CIO, but what was your role intended to be?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for inviting me to join you today. I'm delighted to be here. And thank you for the question about Taft. And first, I just want to say I'm just grateful to be here. It's an amazing firm, very collaborative and inclusive firm. And one of the reasons and decisions of me joining Taft. And it's just a wonderful community. Bringing or initially coming on board, was at the time of the combination, and Taft and Briggs & Morgan combining together, being small and medium-sized firm, now growing into that AmLaw 100 space. And they were looking for a leader to bring that experience to rise and to bring that level of equivalent for the IT organization. So we're no longer operating as a smaller, medium-sized firm. We are an enterprise, large law firm, and we need to run the IT organization as such. And so it was just a great time to join the firm, to bring together not only the 2 IT teams, but to be a part of a leadership team that is growing together, collaborating together to be that modern law firm. And that's those are our business objectives and goals. And being a part of that is essentially why I was brought on board to bring the IT organization along.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, because I guess the needs of a firm, when you enter the AmLaw 100, the size of the firm, the needs are going to be very different. That must have been already quite a challenge. But so then, pretty soon after you arrived, the pandemic hit. So tell me about that, your experience of that in terms of, I'm going to come on to your sort of what the roadmap was, but tell me about, from an experiential point of view, what it was like when you just come on board and then COVID hit.
Yeah, it was a very interesting time. We were right in the middle of developing our plan to unify our 2 firms. So first, it's initially coming on board from the outside or from the external. We're one firm, but as we know, for those that have been involved in the combination, it takes quite a bit of time to unify behind the scenes and to really build that foundation of not only systems, but the people, the process, and bringing those cultures together. And that's really the development of the roadmap. And then quickly needing to shift and pivot everything, including our cultures, to working remotely. So I'll say the team did an amazing job from coming together as a leadership team immediately as we knew when the pandemic was a very serious thing that we need to pay attention to. We brought together all of the firm leadership to pull together a number of different task forces focused on everything from how are we going to work, what do we need to shift to make sure we continue not only delivering the excellent service that we do for our clients, but that we're productive and nobody misses a beat. The other piece that was really important is just to make sure everybody at our firm was okay and they're safe. And so understanding what do we need to do as a firm to support all of our employees. And that included development of an engagement task force that also involved the personal well-being of each and every person at our firm. So the shift happened very quickly for us and very successfully. The entire firm has worked now, let's see, we're going on over a year, working remotely from home. And we did have a skeleton crew in our offices throughout the entire period, just in case anybody needed anything. But the entire team did an amazing job.
Yeah, okay. So so in terms of so obviously, gosh, so when you bring two organizations together, inevitably you've got obviously your two separate systems, so I think we'll probably come back to the pandemic a little bit, but what were your priorities in terms of your strategic roadmap when you were when you were first appointed? What were your priorities? Talk me through, I presume you were looking at the finance system and KM. Talk me through the strategic roadmap.
Yeah, so it was understanding what was important for our executive team, as well as each and every one of the practice areas, so that they could continue to provide a unified front. So really coming together as one Taft. Right when we combined, our priority was our financial system, as well as just some of our basic communication systems, which included our telephony system, our email systems. So those were first and foremost priority, as well as our website. So again, we're communicating as a one Taft, one unified front. And then we can start focusing on and layering on other priorities beyond that. Within the first year, collectively, and that includes, when I say collectively, it's not only the IT organization, but we've come together with all of the other administrative departments. So we partner very closely and collaborate closely with our strategy organization, as well as our finance group and the operation directors in each of the offices, to understand what's important for each of the offices and what's important for each aspect within all of the other administrative departments. That together, we built our priorities. And the first year, as I mentioned, the finance system, our key collaboration technology systems. And then we started focusing on improving and providing a platform that we could get to know each other better across the firm. It's all about who has that experience and how can we continue to grow and collaborate as a firm. So as part of that, we completely transformed our intranet. And now that is our firm system for communications and understanding and learning about each other, as well as focusing on how do we collaborate from an application standpoint. So each firm has got their two separate applications, and it's understanding which ones will drive the most value for our firm and for our clients. So we focused quite a bit on consolidating our entire application portfolio, creating one image, one unified desktop, and also launched that last year. And that just overall improved our collaboration with each other and continued the emphasis on driving value not only for our practice areas, but also how can we drive value for our firm. So that's the unification piece.
So to interrupt you, you would say who you went with. I know some people are not keen to talk about providers, but are you able to sort of share what you're using?
Yeah, just one example on the unified desktop front, we did choose the Latera desktop suite, and there's a number of applications that make up that suite, and it's one that our attorneys have preferred and easy to use. and help streamline and automate a number of work processes behind the scenes, and it allows us to be very responsive for our clients. The other aspect that I didn't touch on that I want to make sure I do is also our focus on innovation. So the first and foremost priority was unifying the foundation. But the other piece that is also very important is ensuring that we're focused on innovation. And we kicked off and launched an innovation task force where we brought in a firm to help us kind of think of what I call the art of the possible. So we ran through a number of design thinking exercises to think about how can we, as now new firm, new combined One Taft, create a different experience, not only for our attorneys in-house, but also how we deliver services. So as and we continue that emphasis, and it's been very exciting over the course of the last year to see how we've been able to advance the needle on that, and really now serve as an extension of some of our clients' teams.
It's really interesting because I think the risk with the pandemic was that people backtracked on innovation, but actually I think hopefully what it did do was create an absolute focus on, where the place of putting innovation within service delivery, or perhaps I love your mention of design thinking. I'm a big fan, and in terms of also working back from where the client problem is, I think that hopefully, do you see that? Do you think that the last year is, I keep referring to the pandemic, it's a bit yawn, isn't it? But do you think it's given better focus to innovation in terms of where it should fit?
I think the emphasis for us has been on the fact that we need to continue to compete and differentiate ourselves. But the pandemic is not the only reason why we did that. That just needs to be our way of life here, and it is. And from the moment that I started the process and the discussion with Taft, that's one of the things that really attracted me to this firm, is that emphasis on we are investing in not only the people and the talent, the processes and the technology, but investing in that thought process of being that modern law firm and being that innovative firm. So I think regardless of the pandemic or not, that emphasis would have been there. And the great thing is, even throughout the last year, we've had to be very mindful about choosing what we invest in. And that investment has gone towards innovating and bringing forward new automation and new technologies to continue to promote that key objective for our firm.
Yeah, okay, great. In terms of, you mentioned collaboration a lot, and I'm not surprised, but in terms of the internal team, obviously you were faced with the brand new team, not only to you, but on kind of the two sides of the different firms. So what steps did you take to help the team come together? Because obviously it's very hard to work with somebody, although we are getting better at it collectively, with somebody you don't know. But what steps did you put in place to bring the team together, your team together? And I suppose one thing I wondered was whether you think a female voice made a difference.
Sure. One of the first things I did was what I call go on a listening campaign. And I talk about that a lot because I think it's one of the most important things you can do. When I initially joined, I went to visit as many offices as I could before the pandemic came about, and just walked the floors and talked with as many people as I could, and listened and learned. And that's part of understanding how do we as an organization do, which is very important to me, to understand not only what do we do well, but where do we need to improve? And it's speaking with everybody across the entire firm, all demographics, all different roles. Specifically with my team, I took the same approach. I went out and met with every individual in person, and we also pulled together, we met in Chicago, and I conducted an IT summit one of the very first weeks after I joined, so that we could get to know each other as a team. The team met a lot with each other online or on the phone before the combination, but we never met in person. So it was really important just to get to know each other as people. And so that was one of the key things that really helped. And then we built the plan together. So we built our roadmap together as far as what we all felt was an important aspect to focus on. We also needed to learn what did former Taft and former Briggs do, and now not necessarily to choose one or the other, but what as one firm, one Taft, and now our much larger firm, what is the best course of action to take place? So everybody had voice, everybody was included, and that was at the start. And that has not stopped throughout the entire process. So my team would probably tell you I meet with them too much, but I just think that's really important that that everybody feels like they have a voice and that we are together. I so much believe in creating a village, and it takes a village to do some of the work that we need to do, and that's our team. We're an incredible village, and we work really well together. Throughout, when we quickly had to pivot to the pandemic, we had everything from daily stand-ups, and then also wanted to make sure we interjected some fun in there, because it's not all about getting the work done, which is incredibly important, but also making sure that we inject a little laughter and some fun. So we've done everything from Zoom background contests to, you name it, any kind of fun, silly thing. But that's important to bring together as a team.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like the sound of that as well. Yeah, I was going to ask about how much of a part empathy played, because again, one of the things that we're going to come on to talk about is your nomination for ILTA as a leading woman. I think something that I feel very strongly about as a woman is that we shouldn't always be asked about being a woman. It's like, ask me about my own achievements, but actually, I think that within that there's a recognition that women have certain strengths. I think empathy is one of them, and I can imagine that during the last year that has played a very big helpful part.
I do. Absolutely, and I think it's challenged probably each and every one of us as far as how to be very flexible and agile in our leadership, and not only leading virtually, but lifting each other up as we lead virtually. And I think that's where you can empathize with your team and empathize with each individual. It's about having people feel like they have a voice and feeling that they're important. Yeah. And that's just one of my values, and just something that we must integrate every day in our team here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. It'd be interesting to see when we get back together again. I'm actually really looking forward to it, but I'm actually really enjoying the Zoom calls, I think we've all adjusted so well to sort of seeing each other like this. To me, it seems so natural now. I don't know. So you've been quoted about saying that CIO is not just about the gadgets. That made me really interested. So what does that mean?
Yeah, and I'm going to say the CIO and also the IT organization. And it's one thing that I talk with my team here is that it's changing that perception that we're not just the help desk, and we're not here just for what I call that gadget discussion. How's your mobile device, or what's the next computer you should buy? We need to be a part of the discussion of bringing value and being a part of the business, being at the table to help solve business problems and help solve some of the issues that our clients are going through. So part of that discussion includes bringing along my team to have those discussions with our attorneys and with our external clients. And it's been really fun to watch and observe how the IT organization has evolved, and really hearing some of the great feedback from my team that they appreciate being part of those conversations, which is so important, so that the work that they do every day, day in and day out, is so important, and to be able to connect the dots for their work and really how that's driving value for our entire firm. The not about the gadget discussion means that we need to also change our discussion from taking away that technical lingo and really starting to understand what's important for the various practice groups, what's important for the various administrative areas. And we do that by meeting with them on a regular basis to understand what's on their plan and what's on their roadmap for the year. How can we help? How can we get involved? And how can we partner together to do it together?
Yeah. Excuse me. So one of the things during the pandemic that fascinated me was the elevation of IT and the acknowledgement of this great contribution. And I think it's a great, I like your observation, because one thing I've seen post-pandemic is IT teams sometimes going back to being help desk, right? And actually it's like, and I think that perhaps training, a bit more training or whatever, but I think that there needs to be an expectation that the IT team will be part of the executive, because as we know, tech is driving everything, right? We've known that for a long time, not everyone has, but and it's just how to continue to have that recognition, isn't it? And have that place at the table, because you have the advantage of seeing every and touching every part of the firm. And that's quite an unusual position to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to mention that too, that we are in a unique position that we are involved in nearly every project that happens at the firm. But I also think we need to raise our hand and get involved. And if you feel like you're not getting involved, insert yourself. And I'm lucky I am part of the executive committee here. I'm part of the practice group and partner meetings, and I know that's not the case at every firm. But if you're not, I would encourage you to inject yourself, because that's really when you're going to start hearing some of the challenges that the legal side is going through, and even sometimes I like to say I just like to be a fly on the wall, because it's just helpful just to hear background and to understand, and then I can take that back to my team and say, all right, let's start exploring first. How can we add value to XYZ business problem, for example, or, and it doesn't always have to start with the technology. In fact, that should probably be the last thing. It's all first about understanding how, the people aspect and how they deal with it. And then do we need to take a look at the process and how it's done? And can we help either streamline or automate or make that more efficient, just in terms of pulling out pieces of the process that might be redundant or may not make sense. And then finally, does it make sense for a technology solution to help? Not all the times, but all of those pieces are those components of the discussion. We should be a part of those.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And anyway, you referenced design thinking earlier. I love the way that you can use design thinking to unpick. Sometimes it seems like such a massive problem, but actually when you start really just unpicking, and I guess when you're listening in, as you say, to each part of the the problem, that's when you can really start to have an impact. So I don't want to run out of time and to talk about. So you've been listed by ILTA as one of the most influential women in legal tech for 2021. So congratulations. It's a huge honor. It's awarded to 5 remarkable women in the legal tech industry. And they say that you exemplify leadership and impact on the community. And one of those reasons is you founded I Will to inspire women. It's a not-for-profit networking forum dedicated to empowering women leaders. So tell me more about who and how I Will is helping.
Yeah, it's. I just smile thinking about it, because it's really, truly a community of women empowering women. And we're 3 years in the running, and we've now kind of fast forward to where we are today. We have over 550 members across the country, and it's all about creating a platform and a forum for women to connect, inspire, and learn from each other. I think the uniqueness that I Will brings to the community is that it's not an exclusive organization, meaning, there are a number of fantastic women professional organizations, and I've found that some are exclusive, be it only C-level or only women in IT, for example. This is all-inclusive, and it's women from all roles, all different industries, and all levels. And everyone has a story to share. And that's really what I Will is about. I always say when you get incredible women together, we can do incredible things together. And it's about investing in women. There's some, I find some statistics that are rather troubling. I'll just mention a few that, 25% of women hold 5 critical C-suite positions, or 30% of women are in the STEM fields. And legal tech specifically, less than 50% of founders and women in the legal tech industry. So we have an opportunity to change that. And I think as a woman leader in technology, as a woman leader in legal tech, it's our role, our responsibility to do that. And it's a commitment that I have to advance women in their careers. And that's really what I Will is about, is connecting women together, providing resources, helping women advance their careers, or just open doors for potentially new careers. And helping women rise and succeed. I Will is 3 different pillars, and you mentioned the networking piece. We've had some amazing networking events. We've been really lucky to have some wonderful speakers to come and share with us their journey, their story, and help empower each other. We also have the giving back and paying it forward aspect. And anytime you join an I Will event, all of those event fees go towards sponsoring and helping nonprofit organizations. So, for example, our New York City chapter, we partner with First Step. It's part of the New York City Coalition for the Homeless, where they help women go through computer skills, interviewing, resume writing, help move off the street and back into the working field. So all of those event fees have gone towards helping support that program. Another example, in Minnesota, we support the Tubman organization, which is focused on women who have gone through a domestic violence or a traumatic situation, to help provide legal representation, clothing, shelter. So all of those dollars have gone to help them. And then the final piece, we did form officially our 501c3 at the beginning of this year, where we're taking on corporate sponsorships, and soon we will be having our own internal innovation competition, where we will take those sponsorship dollars and invest in women-founded companies. So look forward to that very soon.
That's amazing. No, well done. That's really amazing. And I was just curious. So you've made it very much across industries. Do you think it's beneficial for women to mix? Does it sort of? What benefit does it have? You deliberately didn't make it a legal women's networking event. What was behind that decision?
Yeah, I think we all have similar challenges that we've gone through, be it if you're on the corporate side or a professional services organization. And we've focused on topics that can help women across all industries. So, for example, focusing on your personal brand. We had the amazing Donna Payne, who I know a number of people know in the legal tech space. She came and shared with us some really great tips and strategies on elevating your personal brand, or leading authentically. We've had some amazing sessions on how to do that and how to help empower women within your own organization and drive through being persevere and just resilience through those challenges. We've had some amazing sessions about specifically, a number of events that have taken place over the course of this last year, how to get through adversity, and talking successfully about race, politics, and gender at work. So those are challenges that I think not only are within the legal tech space, but they cover across the entire board. Again, kind of going to the heart of our foundation, it's all about we all have a story to share, and we can inspire each other and learn from each other.
And I imagine, having those different stories, must be quite helpful. I think that I can see why meeting women from all walks of life would be really helpful. I think one of the questions, I suppose, probably might have to be the last one, unfortunately, is about how we all help promote. So this is something that I personally have to ask myself all the time. We have a big platform, and it's, I feel like it's one of all of our obligation, but it's a question of how we do that, right? And how we do that in a meaningful way, which isn't just about promoting people for being a woman, right? Because you want to do it to celebrate. This is my personal bug. You want to celebrate what they're doing, right? But so, what should people be doing? I mean, is it what was, as you're sort of someone who's dealing with this all the time, what should people be doing in their own lives to help promote the women around them?
Yeah, I think we have a great opportunity to, first of all, get involved, and we can do that in a number of ways. Either opening the door and opening the doors to, from a hiring standpoint, for example, making sure that that you are including all levels of diversity within your hiring practices. Also, form and create the space for the discussion. You don't have to go out and create a group necessarily, but at least open up the doors and create that open collaborative space so people can start sharing and talking about not only the inclusion, but how do we together continue to raise the profile. And we have an opportunity to provide challenging opportunities, also to mentor one another and either promote those rising women leaders within your company and promote them to there are a number of different mentor organizations where you can nominate them to be a part of those next generation leadership programs, for example, and provide them the opportunities to get the experience, not only internally within your organization, but also to start meeting with others outside of their organization. I think it first starts with raising your hand, getting involved, and committing that you're going to create that change.
Yeah. If people want to look up I Will, what's the URL? How do they find you?
Yeah, and I can share this with you also after, Caroline, if you want to put that in here, but it's www.i-will.net. Okay. And if you go online, you can subscribe and also submit your information, and you'll be part of all of the distribution lists. So.
Okay, well, I'm going to go and do that now.
Wonderful. Well, we look forward to having you.
Listen, Andrea, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations again. And it's been a real pleasure chatting to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks again for having me. Take care.
Bye.